Hello, everyone, and welcome back to CBOT Unplugged. I am Rhonda Armour, and we have a special guest sitting in the seat next to me today, Miss Claudine Pereira, the pink coach.
Thank you.
In case you couldn't tell, she's decked out. Even her shoes, which you can't see
Can't
right
see the
now,
shoes,
are
they're
pink as well.
Yeah.
So Claudine is very special here at CBOT. Not only is she a member, but she really helps our entrepreneur community within, and which I'll get to in a little bit, but she's tied closely to us. She's a member ambassador, which means she's a big advocate for us here at CBOT, but she's a business and leadership coach. So you coach business owners, right?
Yes,
And she, in fact, used to be my business coach back in the day.
It's all my fault.
Yeah,
It's all my fault. Blame me.
Yeah, exactly. Prior to me being here at CBOT, I had my own business, and Claudine was my amazing coach. And she's really a support system for entrepreneurs and teams, because you coach teams as well, which is great, and really keep them moving in their business, keep them accountable, hold their feet to the fire.
Yes.
And so you're not feeling like you're doing it all on your own.
Yeah,
Would
exactly.
that be
that's a very good summary.
And how long have you been doing this for?
I've been in business for 11 years now, so it's 11 years
Amazing.
this year, but I've been coaching for 30.
Yes.
So it's been a long journey.
Yes.
And
so
I'm
she's
still
really-
learning. I'm a lifelong learner.
Of course.
Yes.
But you are a cheerleader for your clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we, especially for entrepreneurs, when you're doing it on your own, and I can attest to this, it can be lonely.
it's a
So to
lonely
have
sport.
someone in your corner like you, it's amazing.
Yeah,
so
sure.
thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I love it. This is great. Good setup. I feel like I'm going to sing in a minute or something.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
well go for it.
No.
I won't be joining you on
No,
that.
I'm
No
not
one
a
wants
singer.
to hear me.
I can dance. I can't sing. It's all good.
You are a dancer.
Yeah, I
That's
am a
right.
dancer,
Yeah.
correct.
Before we dive in too much, I want to thank our sponsor. We can't do these types of things without our amazing business community. And our sponsor for this episode is Canada Rubber Group. They have been in business since 1987.
Wow.
They're just not far from here over at 405 Lake Road in Bowmanville. And they're a manufacturing business, which is really a big piece of who we are here in Clarington.
Nice.
They're a global supplier of custom manufactured industrial parts made from rubber, foam, plastic, silicone, and more. And what's amazing about them is innovation is really their passion. And they really helped customers of all different sizes. But something that makes them special that we've had the opportunity to learn in depth about them is they are an employer that really cares about their people.
Right.
And I know that's really close to your heart, about
absolutely.
leaders treating their people right.
Correct.
And
Yes.
so they've got a really great culture over there at Canada Rubber, and they're very proud of that. They do all sorts of company events and community involvement and those types of things. So it's a fun place to work from what we hear, and we're happy to have them on board as a member, a long-standing member here at CBOT. And so we thank them again for being a sponsor of this episode, and we'll chat about them a little bit at the end. So thank you to Canada Rubber Group. Appreciate that. So back into Claudine. You just wrote a book.
I did. I copied you, Rhonda. Rhonda
No,
was,
you had
you
the
were my
idea.
inspiration.
You had the idea before, because I remember when I came to you with my idea about a
For your
book, you were
book.
like, I have a book in the works. But you
Yes.
had so many things on your plate
Yeah.
at that time that you just couldn't kind of get it. But it finally came to
did.
fruition.
It did.
So can you tell everyone a little bit about the book?
Yes, the book is called The 7 C's of Leadership Mastery.
Okay.
And it is about the things that I've really learned in the last 30 years around leadership.
Yeah.
So all of the things that I teach to my clients, the things that I've learned along the way during my corporate career.
Yes.
It contains a lot of nuggets, a lot of takeaways, case studies that can help you, whether you're an up and coming leader, or whether you are a leader already.
Yes.
Or maybe you are what I call an unsung leader. Right,
Yes.
like a leader without a title, somebody that is a natural leader, but maybe they just don't think that they are yet.
That's right.
Right. So that's one of the reasons I really had so much passion in my heart to write this book.
Yes.
And it was released last September for my 10-year anniversary in business. So
Amazing.
it was quite the moment. It was like giving birth to a baby that you've had in your stomach for 9 months, and then
Right.
you look at it and go, I don't really know what to do with this thing now.
Right.
It was a very surreal moment.
Yes.
You go through this high of writing, and then suddenly the box arrives. It literally arrived the day before my book signing. I was like sweating. And then it's just like this kind of anticlimax, and you kind of go, oh, you have to keep it going.
Right.
But yeah, it was several years in the making, and I wrote the book. I was everywhere. I would travel with my laptop. We were on cruises, and I'd have the laptop open, and I'm madly writing or
because you become inspired at different times.
That's right, exactly. Right? And in fact, the cover of the book, when you look at the book, it's the sea, and there was a picture that I had taken behind one of the ships in Mexico, and I'd sent it to my amazing graphic designers at Big World Creative and said, I want this as a cover. And they created the whole waves to sort of represent the leadership journey, which is not linear. It's forever changing.
That's right. Beautiful. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I know
so much.
People can get it on Amazon.
Yes, you can get it on Amazon. It's on Kindle. It's on Amazon. You can order through me as well.
Perfect.
If you have the book already and have read it, I'd love a review. That would be very helpful.
Yes.
And as we keep the journey going with it.
Absolutely. Good. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
It is a must read for leaders, current leaders. To your point, leaders that are people that maybe not sure if they fall in that bucket, but very inspirational.
Thanks.
So like I said at the beginning of the episode here, so we're very grateful for the relationship we have with you, because our members, a perk of being a member of CBOT is that you get I know it's supposed to be 30 minutes, but I'm sure you're much more gracious with your time, and it ends up being an hour.
Yes.
Complimentary consultation with Claudine to really kind of do a dive into your business, and Claudine will we will walk away with to-do items.
Yeah, right away.
Right?
Yes.
So maybe you can talk to our listeners, because there's going to be some members out there maybe that they don't know that they get this benefit, and maybe to some non-members that are like, oh, that would be a really neat perk. What happens in those sessions?
Yeah, no, thanks, Rhonda, for bringing that up, and thank you to Clarendon Board for putting your trust in my business, for coaching your members.
Of course.
But a discovery session basically is this: it's really taking a 50,000-foot look at your business to go, where are we at? Are you 5 years in, 7 years in? There's a life cycle of business, and at every stage you're forever changing. You could be at a crossroads. You might say, I want to scale it up, I want to hire. And we really sit down and, at a high level go, okay, if you continue to go this way, this is going to happen. But if you move this way, and perhaps you hire, or you look at your organizational chart, or think about how you can get out of the weeds more, or coach and train your employees to do something that you otherwise should not be doing. That's where the discovery session, it just to give you a bit of a leverage of some things that you can do immediately. They're immediate takeaways.
I love that. I love that, because you're right. Sometimes we're so, I know when you were my coach, we're so engrossed, and it's like you can't see the forest for the trees. And so those sessions can be really helpful for our business owners to be able to take a look at their business from a perspective that maybe they don't do on a regular basis. And you're a neutral party, so you're seeing things that they might not be able to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? And that's the thing, is that, I see blind spots. I have my own coach who's been with me since day one in my business, who's amazing, and she sees my blind spots. And that's my work with entrepreneurs, whether you have a team or not a team, is to see and sort of, I've got a lot of experience, so I can tell already if someone comes to me and says, oh my goodness, I'm drowning and I want to grow and I'm not making the sales I need to. Chances are that business owner is way too stuck in the weeds of the business, and they need to do some delegating, or maybe hire an assistant, or put their prices up. So we also look at the financial health of the business as well, and work on numbers, because we have to make some revenue, otherwise what's the point?
Exactly.
So that's an important piece of my work as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, amazing that our members get that as a perk. So thank you for being on board with that. And we have that trust in you to take care of our members. And I know that a lot of our members have taken advantage of those opportunities, but there's many more out there that really should, and to do that sort of forensics on their business with you. And then who knows what happens from there.
And again, this is no pressure. There's no sales tactics. I really just give. And if and when you're ready, great. And if not, that's okay too. I mean, I had a young lady that we met months and months and months ago, and then one day I saw her at an event, and she beelined across the room. I thought something was wrong. And she goes, I'm ready. I need you. Right. And I know it's an investment, but I'm going to, and she's really coming along quite nicely.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about. We won't name names,
coming
but
across
I
quite
love
nicely.
It. Yes.
Yeah, and really is empowered now to hire. We're hiring right now, so it's
Very
a
exciting.
big step.
Yes.
And I'm helping her to do some interviews, and so we choose the right people.
Yes,
Yeah.
excellent. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Our members need to be connecting with you. So thank you again for offering
you.
that benefit. So I have a few questions for you.
Do tell.
To
Okay.
throw you. And I haven't briefed Claudine on these
Yes,
questions.
it's all a surprise.
Yes. So, but you're an expert. So,
Okay.
So talk to me about. And I'm going to channel my former entrepreneur self as well. A lot of entrepreneurs struggle with confidence, and sort of knowing that there's strength in their voice and that they're maybe passionate about what they do, but conveying that to others and getting word out and getting out there and in front of people can be a challenge. So what do you say to those people that want to be behind the scenes but need to come out from behind the curtain a little bit?
You know, it's funny, when I first started my business, I listened to a podcast, and this girl, I was petrified. Just so you know, I'm not going to lie, first 2 years I was petrified the whole time. I lacked a lot of confidence, which people don't believe.
Yes.
Hence why I wrote a chapter in my book about courage, because it's something will be a lifelong battle for me.
Yes.
And there's one lady, she said, you have to shamelessly promote your business.
Yes.
Nobody is going to do it. And I went, gulp.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I lived downtown Durham, and I lived downtown, and I came to Durham. I didn't know anybody other than Marlene Marco.
Yeah.
And that was it. My entrepreneurial journey started, and I knew if I wasn't going to do it, I was a single mom at the time. I had to put food on the table.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to confidence in doing, you need to have a very, very strong why. That's number one.
Right.
Your why has to be so strong. Maybe if I had a man at home with a strong paycheck and I kind of didn't have to worry, then go, well, I can just fold laundry today.
Right.
But no, the fire was lit, and I had 2 mouths to feed, plus all her friends that were coming to my house. So I had no choice but to get out there.
Yes.
And, it was funny because I was just having this conversation yesterday with a client who is suffering from some imposter syndrome.
Oh, yes.
She's new to leadership. She's actually going through my Rising Stars leadership program. So she's very new into her leadership journey. And she says, I feel like because I'm dealt with some mental health issues that, I shouldn't be here. I don't have the confidence. And I said, well, who hasn't these days?
That's
and I
right.
said, I think that when you have lived experiences, we are the best people to go out and help those in need.
Yes.
So some of the strategies that I give to ladies and men, I have a couple of clients that suffer from imposter syndrome, and some tactics to help to control that confidence or that resilience in getting out there are things like meditation, like the basics, journaling every day.
Right.
Journal about how you want your day to be. I love the 5-minute journal because it is 5 minutes. And you can say what you're grateful for. You can say how you want your day to turn out today. Like I could say, I'm grateful for the sun today. I'm grateful for my drive. I'm grateful for Clarendon Board and having this opportunity. And, how I want to manifest my day. And then you can write some positive affirmations about yourself.
Right. Yes.
Because sometimes what we think and what we say is what we become, and that's a problem there.
Yes, well, it's all
It's
here,
all
right?
mental.
And we can limit ourselves, right? Because we get in our own heads. And this is why it is really great to have a coach, because you have different perspectives. So everyone else sees us differently than we see ourselves.
Always.
Right? I mean, I know when I was had my business, you're like, you need to start speaking. You need to go doing speaking engagements.
You were freaking
know,
out.
I was
no, I don't want to
freaking
speak.
out. Yeah,
I don't want to speak. Speak what? I can't do it. She fought me every step of the way.
I did.
Fought me every step of the way.
I did. But you know what? So I did it because I was afraid of Claudine. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
But you know what? When you step into it, you realize that it's not as bad as you made it out to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And because you've built it up to be this big scary thing that, this speaking is just an example, but we've convinced ourselves that we're going to fail, we're going to look silly, all the things. And then when you do it, you're almost empowered by it, because you think,
why did I make such a big mountain out of that molehill?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I remember the first time that Rhonda spoke, and it was an event, and she was great. I sat there going, I was sitting next to Sandra, I think, and I said, she's nervous. I said, I know, I'm going to go and punch her in the face in a minute. She's fine. And squeeze her ears. And she's brilliant. And now what's so beautiful for me to see as her past coach and dear friend, I love her, is that it's come full circle now. And I see her under at all the events and she's up there. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Clarendon Board of Trade. And she's presenting. And I'm like, who are you? What did you do with my rondo?
It doesn't mean that I'm not nervous and
right,
you know, but I think that's okay, because I always tell my kids, if you're nervous when you're doing things like that, it means you care.
Exactly.
Right?
And the thing too with confidence in that whole piece, it's a massive piece. We could talk about this for days.
Yes.
Is that the thing is, we got to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone as entrepreneurs, and it's hard.
Agreed.
Don't think for 1 second everyone looks at me and goes, "Oh my God, look at you! You're online here. You're doing this. You're doing that. You look so perfect." Well, you know, I don't have a perfect life or a perfect anything.
That's right.
I just know how to cope with it, and I have strategies to cope. And I think that's the key, is to figure out what are the strategies you're going to cope with.
Yes, and everyone's different, right?
And everybody's different. And, you know, sometimes if I'm going out, like back in my competing days, and news hot off the press, I'm going back to the ballroom. So we've got our first competition set for next July, Igor and I. So we're starting back at it. Now my back is semi-fixed. So, and again, that takes confidence.
Yes.
I'm petrified.
Right.
I'm petrified to get back on the ballroom floor. But it's almost like I have to become somebody else when I'm doing something outside my comfort zone. Just like Beyonce is Sasha Fierce. Right? You have to become someone that you're not. Step outside of your skin and go, okay, who am I going to be to have the confidence to get out there and promote my business?
Absolutely.
But you can talk to me about it. I'm happy to give strategies. I've got a gazillion of them.
I love that. Thank you. So you mentioned about networking.
Yes.
So, and we know, and we try to really encourage our members to get out and network. And it's not always comfortable for everybody. But if you were to give some advice around, there's not a right way to do it or a wrong way, but things that people can keep in mind around the concept of networking and getting out there, what would you tell them?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, 3 things. Number one, the best way to build your business is through networking.
Yes.
The best way to build your business. It's the only way I built my business. I had flyers that I gave out at events, but I didn't do door knocking. I didn't do massive thousands and thousands of dollars of advertising.
Right.
Again, it depends on your business. You might need to do some of that.
Yes.
But networking was hands down the number one way that I got known in Durham.
Yes. Oh, you're developing relationships.
Because you're building relationships. And when you think about these days, especially in the economy that we're in, and people are thinking carefully about spending, who wouldn't want to do business with somebody that's credible and is showing up all the time?
That's right.
And that you build that relationship with. So that's number one, network, because it is the best and easiest way over time to build business. And don't get demoralized if you don't go to the first event and get a sale.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Yes.
Right?
You're playing more for the long game, right?
You're playing for the long game. Like I always say, business is like the athlete's journey. You're playing for the longer game. There's no quick win.
Right.
Second thing with networking is go with somebody. If you're nervous, I had a client that was a member and she was always nervous to go out, and I'd say, okay, I'll meet you there and we'll go together.
Yes.
Or, you know, hook up with someone and they're going together.
Yes.
So there's strength in numbers. If you're not confident about going in to a room by yourself, either A, get there really early, so you're the first, or B, go with a few people that you meet outside, and then you will go together. So that's the second thing. Lastly, have a strategy with it, because quite often people go up to network and then you think, oh, just give them my card.
Yes.
You know, and it's not a fake strategy. It's just more of a, what am I looking to get out of today?
Yes.
You know, who do I want to meet today? And if you're new to Clarendon Board, I think you've got to try a few different events, because between the morning motivators, the big events at Mosport, you get different crowds out.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And, you know, for example, everyone says, find your niche. But sometimes it's the other way around. You've got to go out and try to promote first to see where your niche is and where your ideal clients are. So there's all strategy around it. And I would say, try not to leave the ball in the other person's court. So if you meet somebody and say, you know what, let's get together and have a tea, or let's get together and have a chat about business, you say, what's the best way for me to reach you? Text? I'd say, text me. I'm a texter. You know, emails last at night when I get home.
Right.
Text me. And then you make the arrangement right there on the spot.
Yes. That follow-up piece is really important, isn't it?
Your fortune is in your follow-up. And this is, you know, there's a cycle. When I teach sales, the piece where it gets broken, you go out to network, you spend money, you meet people, you come away, who am I going to connect with? And then the chain breaks.
Yes.
right? And that's where we typically lose any kind of sales opportunity because we don't follow up because of fear, because of confidence,
That's
back to it.
Yes.
So I say when you're in the middle of the conversation, trust me, if you're scared, the other person is scared too.
Yes.
You're not alone with this.
Yes.
And we think that we are, but we're not. But
No.
book that, get together, like with we were just talking about the evening events. We just kind of said, let's carry on the conversation, her and I, and let's make this happen.
Yes.
So you don't wait until you suddenly go home and sit in front of all these cars and then freak out.
Right.
So that's the strategic part of it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think people need to know too that they can be their authentic selves. Right? We don't need to be, which is why when we have networking events, we try to have, activities going on, we're going bowling or we're going to a goat farm or axe throwing or something so that people can kind of, their
Relax.
shoulders can come down, they can be themselves because then there's authentic, real relationships being formed.
1,000%. You don't need to put airs, graces on. You have to represent your brand,
Yes.
however you do that, depending on what business that you're in, is you are the face of your brand.
That's right.
And that's really important to showcase, but just be yourself.
Yes.
And as I said, there's strength in numbers when you go out. Just, you find the first friend to go with and say, can we go to the next one together?
Yes, exactly.
And build your network.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the only way I've done
That's
it.
good. That's good advice.
It's just word of mouth.
I believe it too. No, you're right. You're
Word
right. And
of
those
mouth.
relationships matter because you're right. The people, if there's a need, if I have a need in my life, I need someone to fix my furnace, and I just happen to meet an HVAC person at an event, they're going to be front of mind because I had a really positive interaction with that person.
Absolutely.
Right? So.
And one last thing I'll just say about networking
Sure.
is I always say be interested, not interesting. Right?
Yes.
Talk less
Yes.
and listen more.
Yes.
Because we tend to want to all about me.
Yes.
But I say ask the questions. Have a couple of open-ended questions in your back pocket to say,
Yes.
so what brings you here today? Have you been to this before?
Yes.
What is your business? Tell me a little bit more about what you do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. It has to be a reciprocal conversation.
Yes.
Right? It's not a one-way
Be
thing.
interested, not interesting.
Excellent.
Yes,
That's a
there
great
you go.
tidbit.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love that.
How am I doing?
You're great.
Am I passing the test?
You're great. I love it. I always knew that you would be.
Oh.
So let's circle back to the concept of being a leader, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that being a leader and what that looks like and what we've sort of defined it to be has changed? Because if I think about our community here in Clarington, it's mostly small businesses. There's a lot of home-based businesses, just like I was. It's a team of one, and we might not think, well, I'm not a leader,
Right.
Because I don't have a team that I'm leading,
Yeah.
or I'm not leading a department or something like that. So, if you were to think about what being a leader means. Regardless of the type of business you're in, because I think that I think it's good for people to kind of capture the essence of and knowing that they are a leader and without having a team necessarily or, like I said, a big department to run. So what does that look like for maybe some entrepreneurs and that want to move their business forward and what their mentality should be about leadership?
So I think it's interesting you say about leadership sort of changing over the years. We went from hearing, oh, I'm your manager, I'm your supervisor,
right? I'm
your boss.
Yes.
In fact, I was just teaching this to that same young lady who's in the Rising Stars leadership. I showed her a model about. It had a picture on there of a leader leading a team up a mountain and a boss saying, "Go."
Right.
And there's a massive difference. And I think through the decades we've changed from very 1980s old school. Okay, Rhonda, do this, move that piece of paper over here, and if you don't do it, you're fired. Right. So we've switched gears now, and now people are looking, I find, especially since the pandemic, we are looking for people. We are looking for people to look up to.
Yes.
Right? We're looking for somebody, that trailblazer that's moving in that direction so that we can jump on that bandwagon.
Right.
So to me, leadership, I sum it up in 2 words.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter whether you have a team, whether you're alone, whether you're sweeping the street, cleaning. I've got great videos of a guy actually in South Africa cleaning a washroom. And he says, "Welcome to my office." And that's leadership. He does it in the dark. He's in behind the scenes. He's not looking for praise, gratitude. He's taking pride in what he's doing.
Yes.
And so to me, I sum up things like this in 2 words: positive influence.
Love that.
Positive influence, and
Yes.
that's all you need to think about when it comes to leadership.
Okay.
And we're all doing it, and that's
Yes.
why I say it doesn't matter. You don't need a title. Robin Sharma wrote a book that says "A Leader Who Had No Title."
Yes.
You do not need a title to be a leader.
That's right.
It is about positively influencing somebody. You know, yeah, I have a title in my business, but I'm still solo. I have people.
Yes.
I have an assistant. I have Igor and people that help me.
Yes.
But it's still me
Yes.
on my own. But I pride myself, and I didn't really until I actually put together the keynote on the 7 C's of Leadership Mastery. I was doing it for the Whitby Whitby Chamber of Commerce this year for the International Women's Day.
Yes.
And someone said to me, when did you feel that you became a leader? And I said, it wasn't until I got to the bank. But my leadership journey started when I was 13 in dancing school.
Right. Yes.
And it was positive influence. I have a slide where it shows me at the bank taking some of the other leaders down to Habitat for Humanity, because I always led the United Way campaigns, and I really didn't know what I was doing, but that was leadership.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I was positively influencing them to go this way.
Do good in the community.
Yeah,
and,
so that's what I sum it up as. You don't need to have a massive team or employees or anything like that. You just need to have positive influence in your community and people. That is contagious. And I think these days,
absolutely is.
That's
it's
what people
much
need.
Needed. Yes.
It's much needed right now.
Yes.
Much needed. Yeah.
I love that. I'm going to keep those 2 words in mind.
Positive influence.
Yes, you're
That's what
right.
it's about.
You're right. Thank you for that. I love
You're
that. What is the best way for people to connect with you? Because it's not just, for coaching. There might be, they need a speaker.
Yeah.
They need just someone to do a workshop.
Yes.
Because I think that sometimes, because we get asked a lot,
Yeah.
I would love for someone to come into my business and talk to my team about this or that. And sometimes, finding good people, it can be challenging to go in and conduct these types of things. And we know you do a session for us. We'll talk about that shortly, every year for our members. But what's the best way for people to get a hold of you and connect with you?
Yeah, so you can find me obviously on all the social media channels. If you type in the Pink Coach, I'll pretty much come up everywhere.
Yes.
I'm on Google, and from Google you can read my. I'm at 89 reviews, so I'm working to 100.
There you go. You'll get there. I know you will.
But so you can click on my website from there, thepinkcoach.com. You can find out about my book and the work that I do, and you can book a discovery call straight through the website.
Yeah.
You can send me a text. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of those places. And I do have a keynote that is built around a keynote and a workshop built around the 7 C's of Leadership Mastery. Just did a big one in Quebec City in the summer for an insurance company that I won't name. But it was 300 of their agents. They bought 300 books. And it was wonderful. They all walked away with that same message and the book in their hands. So
They're all on the same page.
Whether it's something like that, it's a keynote style, or last week I actually did a workshop style for daycare leaders.
Yes.
It was wonderful work, and they don't see themselves as leaders. They're young, and they're like, leadership, what? And so I did an exercise with them. And I'll quickly tell you.
Yeah.
And I put them into 4 teams, and I gave them a Minions puzzle. And of course they're young, so they're like, oh, Minions. I said, don't touch it. I said, here's your rules. I said, you've got to build that puzzle in 5 minutes. And the one rule that you have is you cannot speak. And so what I was looking for in that exercise, I was looking for the natural leader in each group. Because there's always one that will take you and go, okay, rip the bag open. And, and the team in front, I knew they were going to do it because the one girl there, I watched her, she was so driven and so determined. And she had that positive influence over the team. She was going, and they won. And then she did a happy dance. So the 7 C's Leadership Mastery can be cut up in a couple of different ways.
Absolutely.
And especially for your teams.
Yeah.
Right, especially for your teams.
It's so important.
If you've got results and you're driving teams for results, there's a lot of pieces in there that are relevant in terms of customer experience and how you're going to go get it. What are you going to do to lead your team to success?
Yes,
so,
I love that.
Yeah.
I do have one question that I didn't have written down. Can anyone be a leader?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when and I think that the strongest leaders I know don't even realize that they're leaders,
Yes.
right? If you look at people like Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa,
Right.
the real trailblazers, you know, the Queen, whether you like the
Right.
monarchy or not,
Yeah.
you know, they lead, and you either gravitate to them or you don't.
Yes.
But I think anybody can, and I think that honestly, we should be starting to have our leaders from a young age.
Agreed.
It should be something that is coached and taught. You see it a lot in sports.
Yes.
Right? Why do you think you have a captain?
That's right.
In football, you have a captain.
Yeah.
You know, in dance, we have dance captains. You have a hierarchy.
Yes.
And they're always looking, all the scouts, that they're always looking for the natural leaders. And I think anybody can lead.
Yes.
I just don't think it's spoken about enough anymore.
No, I agree. Well, and that's why I
Right.
wanted to ask the question, because I think there's, you know, maybe some people listening that go, oh, I can't be a leader because I'm not an extrovert, or I don't,
You don't need
I
to
don't
be.
have this knowledge or that knowledge, or I think in our own way, we can be leaders. Right?
Oh, 1,000%. And sometimes, and I'll give you an example, and they are members, the company are members of the Clarington Board of Trade. And one of the managers I coach for one of the offices, she is not an extrovert. She's introverted. She's very quiet, but she is stealth. She is a leader. She went out and closed 8 of these commercial policies. She met one business owner and closed 8 of the offices.
Wow.
Little stealth, tiny little thing.
Yeah.
So you don't need to be extravagant or extroverted. Everyone thinks, oh, we're going to be an extrovert to be in business. No, you don't.
No.
You don't.
Okay.
I've been teaching color personalities all summer. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and how you can use the color personalities to recognize each other, and how you can use them to sell.
Yes.
And you
I'm
don't
sure
need.
that's very effective.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it has
Yeah.
been. You don't need to be an extrovert.
Okay.
At all to
No,
lead.
that's
Yeah.
good to be reassured
Yeah.
with that, because I think, you know, again, there's that confidence piece, right? And
Yes.
downplaying or imposter syndrome, all of those come into play too with
Absolutely.
it. But I think we're all capable of being leaders in our own way,
Agreed.
but sometimes we just have to have that little nudge. So maybe this can be a nudge
Little
for
nudge.
someone, right? A little
Yeah.
nudge for someone that's out there that knows that they're maybe capable of more.
Doing a little bit more.
Yes.
Because I think we all are, and
Yes.
that's where coaching does come in handy.
Yeah.
Whether you hire a life coach or a personal development coach or a
Right.
business coach or leadership coach,
Yes.
it will help you. That's why sports, anybody that are in professional sports,
Yes.
they all have coaches, and they probably have many different ones. Look
That's
at the
right.
singers. If they don't have people to help them,
Yes.
it's a fast track.
Yeah.
It's a fast track.
Yeah,
And I would
absolutely.
always say this too, like, nothing really good. When have you ever grown when anything has been in the box?
Yes, you're right.
When you step outside of the box and you make yourself uncomfortable, that's when the magic happens.
Yes.
And I think that the society tells us, no, we're just going to stay in the box and be mediocre.
Yeah, maintain the
No,
status
we're going
quo
home
and-
to have dinner and watch CP24.
Right.
And I say, don't do that. Keep the television off, read a good book,
Right.
and do the things that 95% of the population won't do to move the needle.
Right.
That's
Yes.
plain and straight.
No, it's fantastic
Outwork
advice.
your industry. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of coaches. There's
Yeah.
a lot of realtors. There's a lot of, and I always say, people say, "Oh, I don't want to come because of the people." Oh my goodness, there's business for everybody.
Yes, there is.
Chances are, I coach other coaches, and we're all doing it differently.
Yes.
All of us, every
Yes.
single one of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. There's plenty of business to go
Plenty.
around, right? So awesome. I love that. So I do want to finish up with putting out a few events that we have coming up at CBOT. And the last one I'm going to mention involves Claudine specifically. So on November 4th, we have our member checkup coming up, which is kind of like an orientation, sort of thing, where I go through all the different benefits of membership. And Claudine comes to that event because it's a perk of membership is receiving a complimentary session with Claudine. So I suggest that you come to that if you're a new member, if you're a seasoned member, or maybe you're thinking about membership and you're not sure if it's a good fit for you. Come on out on November 4th. All these details are on our website at cbot.ca. So if you can register, that helps us as well. November 11th, we've got speed networking. So we're talking about networking.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic way, if you are uncomfortable kind of mingling and working a room, you're going to be sitting down, you're across from someone, you're kind of forced to have a conversation. We will, it'd be quick. We'll have some, cued questions in case you're not sure of what to say. And then you move on to the next person. We did it last year. It was really, really effective and a lot of fun. So we're going to do that again. That's coming up on November 12th. I think, November 12th at Chronicle Brewing. So that will be really fun. That's an evening event. And then November 13th, we are having the Pink Coach herself come out, which you do usually at this time of year because it's a great check-in for the, how you want to wrap up the year and then kick off the next year. Right? Yeah. So, and we're going to do it a little bit differently this year as well. So got some new elements around some leadership and some different things that we're going to bring into it. So if you've attended in the past Claudine sessions, you'll still want to come out this year because it will be different.
It's going to be different this year.
Yeah, we'll get some new things. Yeah, so that's going to be like a lunch and learn, right, on November 13th from 11 to 1 at OPG. So you can sign up for any of these events, but please come out to the Pink Coach ones. It's really a great opportunity. She kind of gets you to do some forensics on your business, and it's good to meet other businesses and see how everyone's making out, and then big plans for 2026, which I can't believe that we're even saying that,
Crazy.
but we're here. We're in the last quarter, right?
Awesome.
So we're just about here. So before we wrap, I want to thank again Canada Rubber Group. Could not do this without you. Thank you so much for your sponsorship of this episode. Again, they're a manufacturer right here in Clarington. They're an amazing work environment, and they do great things within the community. So if you're looking to get involved with them, you can reach out to them. They have a website. They're members, so they're in our directory. They bring on co-op students. So if you're a student and you want to get involved, that's a great opportunity as well. So thank you so much to Canada Rubber Group. We can't thank you enough.
Yay.
And can't thank you enough. We really appreciate this. We know you're very, very busy and you're kind of all over the place, but we appreciate you making time. I think this conversation is important, especially around the leadership piece and confidence and people putting themselves out there. Do you have any sort of last words of wisdom for our listeners?
There's a quote by Walt Disney, which I don't quite remember off the top of my head, but Walt Disney was ridiculed when he drew the mouse. He was like, oh my God, no one's going to open a park and come and see a mouse. So just think about it. I think sometimes we play really small and think, and I played small for a long time for many a reason. And I'm nothing special. I'm just a young girl from Reading in England, and I didn't get degrees. I did all my coaching at the bank and had great education there, and at George Brown for life coaching. But don't play small. You're better than you think. And if the mouse idea, look at that now. Right. Look who's laughing now. And Mickey Mouse is absolutely everywhere. But don't play small. Again, I never thought I could write a book. Me?
Right. Well, me either, my friend. So
there we go. We both. When you were like, and that thing came to life, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful gift. Yes. So you can do anything. I don't believe that there's any limits on what you can and can't do.
Thank you. Yeah. Those are good parting words, because I think that we are our own worst enemies sometimes. Always. And we do limit ourselves. We talked about that. And so thank you for, leaving it on that note, because I think it's really important to play big. So hopefully this gives everyone a little bit of confidence to step outside their comfort zone. And if you need a little push with that, please get in touch with Claudine.
Yes, please do.
She's happy to help you. So thank you, my friend. Really appreciate it.
But you're going to ask me like which end I put my toilet paper on, or, whose picture is on my wall
growing up. That's the next episode. Yeah. Thank you for listening, Rhonda. And we will see you next time on CBOT Unplugged.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of CBOT Unplugged, brought to you by the Clarington Board of Trade. Follow us on Instagram at ClaringtonBot, on Facebook at the Clarington Board of Trade, or visit our website, cbot.ca.